My 1936 Ford 5-window coupe, all original, numbers matching car, original paint. The only thing it needs is kingpins, which I never did before. Always worked on 50s and 60s cars, but I can't seem to find anybody to do it, so I'm going to try it myself. Interior is nice. I did change the back roll down window, fixed the gauges, put a new speedometer cable, works nice. All I gotta do is get started. Took the wheels off and ready to go. Over here I got the kingpin set, the kit. The new kingpins, bearings, bushings, locking pins, the top, everything you need to do the job. And this is the driver's side, and I moved them. They shouldn't have that shake in it. That's the driver's side. Now the passenger side is even worse. This is the passenger side. It has a real heavy wobble in it. You know, this one is shot completely. So when I'm driving the car, the steering wheel's shaking. So that's why kingpins got to be changed. So I got to take the drums off, unscrew the grease cap, and take this nut off where the bearing is, and then the drum will come off. Then I can work on the backing plate one step at a time. Cotter pin's got to come out first. Now the big nut. Take the bearing out. Put some new grease in it. I'm not going to disassemble the brakes. I'm going to leave them on the backing plate. I took the 4 nuts off the backing plate. Now I just got to take the backing plate off. I got the backing plate off. I'm trying to keep the brake hose on. That's why I put the backing plate up there.
We'll see. If I have to disconnect it, I'll put new hoses in. Now I have to disconnect this tie rod end right here, and then take the kingpin out, and that will give me the spindle. Then I'll knock my bushings out, press the new ones in. Sounds easy, we'll see. So the tie rod ends have to come off before I could take the spindle off. Bad tie rod ends will also make the steering wheel shake. So I gotta check these, make sure these are good. I have extras in case, I'll change them also. This is a 36 Ford. It came with mechanical brakes. This sometime was updated to juice brakes. They used 1939 brakes. These are 39 spindle, 39 back and plate. Which is what I would have done if they came with mechanical brakes. Because mechanical brakes are a pain in the ass. So take off the nut. Now some people turn the nut upside down and hit it, knock it out. Others use a fork. We'll try different ways. I think the best thing to do is to use the fork so I can knock it out. And I can take that pin out. That pin over there. I'll take the kingpin out. I wanted to find an old-time mechanic. Just drive the car over there, leave it there, and then drive it back, but can't seem to find anybody that does this work anymore. So that's why I'm doing it myself. All the old timers are gone, or I can't find one, and I looked all over. So do the best we can, that's all. And that's the way it comes out. It knocked the hell out of it. Now because this tie rod end is good, it's nice and tight, probably replace, but the boot is pretty beat from taking it off. But I picked up extra boots. That will save that. Now, I can worry about taking this off. I'm going to take this pin off here, which holds the pin in place. When this pin comes out, then you could knock the pin out from underneath and the spindle will come off. Now with the spindle free, you can hear how bad it is. This is not supposed to move. So we know what has to be changed. With the pin loosened, See if I could knock it out. Yeah, that's how it goes. Now I get a punch and I'll knock the rest of it out. Here's the pin. Knock this kingpin out. Okay, now we knock the kingpin up. Should be free. Get the pin out. There's your kingpin. That pin hole goes in this here slot. This lines up and locks the pin in place. That's why you can't get this out unless you take the pin out. Now the pin is out. This should come off. And there it is. There's your spindle. I don't see any shims, but they give you shims. Here's the bearing. I'll clean this up, and then I'll knock these these bushings out. Press new ones in. Not bad for a first time. Okay, got the spindle in the vise. I'm gonna knock out the bushings. Now remember, I never did this before, so I don't have the proper tools to knock the bushings out. So, looking through my sockets, I came across a 17mm socket that fits perfect. I already started to knock it out, so I know it fits. So now I'll knock out the other one. Okay, now the bottom one is recessed a little bit, so the socket fits in a little better. And there's the second bushing. 1, 2, 3, knock them out. Hopefully, you can press them in as easy as I knocked them out. Now before I press the other bushings in, I'll clean this up, maybe paint it, and get it ready for the new bushings. I cleaned up the spindle. I painted it. Most important, I cleaned the areas where the new bushings are going to go. It has to be very clean. Alright, so I want to, very important is to get the hole in the bushing lined up with the grease fitting hole in the spindle. You make sure that's lined up, otherwise you're not going to get grease. I just want to get it started. And you want to make sure that the bushing is going in square, flat, even. If it goes in crooked, you're going to end up buying new bushings. Alright, now I'm going to get ready to press this in. This bushing's in there nice. Okay, I got the bushing in place. I'm going to start pressing it in. Alright, bushing's going in slowly. I probably could have used a bigger vise. And the bushing is pressed in. Okay, here's the new bushing pressed in. It has a slight lip on the top, which I'll knock down. You don't want any lip on top. And the grease fitting hole, it's perfect. It's all lined up. So I'll just knock that bushing down a little bit just to even it up. And then I'll work on the other side. Okay, got the spindle in the vise. Just going to knock this bushing down a little bit. My trusty socket. Just a little bit more. You don't want it sticking up. Just a little bit more. I don't want to go too much. There we go. Looks good. Looks good. Alright, so the spindle bushings are in, and I figured let me put new tie rods in. I figured I had new ones, I may as well put them in. So I put the two tie rod ends in. So I'm ready to put the other tie rod end in on the drag link, and I notice the drag link is shot. So I had to order a new drag link. I think I might as well put a new one in instead of fooling around with this mess. So one thing after another. And just to show you how bad this is, I took the cotter pin out and the nut was hand tight. Unscrew the nut. Okay. And the drag link falls out. Talk about needing a part replaced. Well, I have to wait till a new drag link comes, and I'll start installing. So here's the old drag link. Tie rod end is good. It's nice and tight. The other end terrible. Has to be replaced. So new drag link is on the way. It's good to check these.
Now I got the new drag link. Looks good. All I did was paint it. I'll adjust the sleeve and the tie rod end after. Right now I'm going to put the spindles in. So I can't do anything until the spindles are in. That's the next thing to go. Okay, when putting the kingpin in, this notch has to be facing this hole. So when you put the locking pin in, it lines up and locks your kingpin in place. I'm only going to put one shim on the bottom. Hopefully that's all it needs. It kind of slid in kind of easy, so. Okay, let's see, let me put the pin in. The pin has to line up with this groove here. Okay, we'll tighten this up. Feels nice and tight, no binding, no wiggling, nice, no movement. It'll even get tighter when I tighten that up. Now I'll do the other side. Okay, this is the other side. To save some time, I just did it. I slapped it together. It took no time at all. The only difference was this took two spaces, one for the top, one for the bottom. I greased it up, the grease fittings. It's nice and tight. No wiggle, nothing. Nice, nice. Tightened up the locking pin. Now I have to install
the tie rod tube. It goes here, and the drag link goes on this side. Hopefully I'll line it up so I won't need a wheel alignment. We'll see. Okay. Alright, I got the tie rod tube connected. I just have to torque down the bolts, and then I'll put on the drag link, which goes over here. And then I could start putting the backing plate on, and the drum and the wheels, and we're done. Alright, tie rods are all greased up and torqued down to 40 pounds. Drag link all ready. The next step is put the backing plate on, bolt it up. Okay, the backing plate is on, all bolted up. Just clean up the brake shoes a little bit and put the drum on. I got the drum on. Now I repacked the bearing, cleaned it and packed it with fresh grease. Press the bearing in. Locking washer. I gotta preload the bearing before I adjust it. Adjusting the bearing is really all with feel. Okay, now these brakes have to be adjusted. There's two nuts, one on each side in the back and two on the bottom. I'm not going to touch the bottom adjusters, I'm just going to adjust the two top ones. And lastly is the cotter pin. If the hole doesn't line up, you just move the nut over a little bit. And that's that. Grease cap back on. Now we're ready for the other side. It's that. When adjusting the brakes, these nuts up here, one on each side, is for adjustment. And down here, these two adjust the bottom. And it's pretty simple. Okay, when adjusting the brake, you don't hear anything. You want to push the adjusting nut down and it locks it in place. You can't move it. So what you want to do is push it up till it starts to move. Now you hear a slight drag. That's all you want. You want a slight drag on it. And you do the same thing for the other side. And the brakes are adjusted. Okay, got a nice drag. You can hear it. That's all you want. A nice drag on it. Brakes are now adjusted. Now we work on the other side and we're all done. So I assembled the drum, the other drum, adjusted the bearing and the brakes. Everything seems to be good. I didn't videotape it because it's exactly the same as the other side. So there's no sense. I just got to put the wheel on, tighten it down, put the hubcap on, and we're finished. Overall, it was a pretty easy job. I did have to take the spindles to my friend's shop where he reamed the bushings, and everything else went together well. I'm glad that I had to change the tie rods and the drag link. I know everything is new, and all that's left now is to drive the car and enjoy it.